Hi everyone, welcome to Switched On, Paul speaking, and today going to be looking at Decay of Logos, which is just recently been re-released after some really bad problems back in the summer. I think it was August it was initially released, and there was all sorts of confusion. I think the story was that the wrong version got uploaded, and then it was kind of the right version, but it was so bad that the developers and publishers had to pull it in the end to fix issues. I believe the issues existed on all platforms, so I'm not sure if it got pulled on all the other platforms, but I've certainly seen some reviews on the PlayStation version where there was a lot of issues. But here we are on the Switch, re-released a few days ago on the eShop. Now initially I was going to pass this one over. I did get the code to review the game, and after playing it for a few hours, I very rarely will stop playing a game. I really try and give games a fair crack. I don't like being negative about games, and I will try and finish them to get a fair sort of opinion across to you guys. But this is one game where I couldn't play anymore. It was just too poor, and yeah, it was just not a game that I could get into. Now I've edited out quite a lengthy loading screen there, which is one of the issues of the game, but there's no point sitting through that. So here we are, Decay of Logos. As I say, I wasn't going to review it or even talk about it because it was just so bad. I just had to stop playing it because I just was getting nowhere, and it was just frustrating the hell out of me. So the red flags were raised initially when we got quite a big review guide from the publishers, which sometimes is really handy, but there was so much information in the review guide that made me think, why do we have to be told all this? And it sort of raised a bit of a red flag that, if someone buys this on the eShop, hasn't got this guide, they're going to be sort of languishing. And it's just one of those games where you don't get any tutorials really. You don't get told what to do. You don't get told what buttons do what. And you're just kind of left to your own devices. But as I say, I'm going to speak about it because I found out last night that this game had an incredibly small development team, and apparently only one coder worked on this game. So just out of respect for the guys that have tried their best to get a game, a Zelda-ish style action adventure game out, I thought I should speak about it and just give them the benefit of the doubt, knowing that I've showcased Rush Rally 3 recently, which was made by one person, and praised them for that. So I feel I should show the other end of the scale. When you've got a really small team, single coder making this game, they need to stand up and be responsible for the game. So, as I say, it's kind of like a Zelda-ish kind of game. Also has sort of Dark Souls style combat. It's all based on timing. The story is pretty cliche, but it's not too bad. You get this companion, like a big magical elk that follows you around. But honestly, it's just terrible to control. It's meant to follow you a little bit like Zelda's horse, I think, but often just gets in the way or gets stuck. Doesn't really serve any purpose. So, it can kind of get you across the map reasonably quicker, but it doesn't really. It just seems very little point to having it. You can store some of your inventory on it, even though you wouldn't know it. So here we've been thrust into combat. The R button lets you. We've defeated him. The R button lets you do a quick attack. ZR does a heavy attack, and L parries. And it's one of those games where you need to lock onto enemies. So you right click on the stick, on the right stick to click in and lock onto someone. You find these echoes that are around as well, kind of little collectibles that tell you a little bit more of the backstory. But I mean, you can see here the graphics aren't great. There's definite performance issues. I mean, when you start the game, just the frame rate just hits you instantly how poor it is. It was one of the reasons the game got pulled to fix that, and it's still, in the 20s. If I'm being generous, it's in the 20s. Very rarely hits the mark. See a bit of slowdown now, but it's the gameplay more than anything. It's just so obtuse. And the main thing is it's not very fun, and that's the reason I wanted to stop playing it. Now these things are absolute buggers to get rid of. So you see, I'm locked on at the moment, indicated by the white bar above them. And it may be a case that I'm just no good at these Dark Souls-ish style games. But even so, you know, this is very reasonably early on in the game as well. So you got the dodge there on the A button. You can just dodge around. You have got these potions as well. Drinking an ice one there to freeze these creatures. We need that hearty brew because that's like restores your health. Damn, they're dead. That was my fault there. To be fair, the game has got a stamina system. You look at the bottom right hand corner. There's a blue bar that indicates your stamina, and I just wasn't really concentrating there. I just overused my stamina. I should have backed off, gained some stamina back. So I mean, that system's quite nice in terms of like the Dark Souls kind of way that you really have to time your attacks. The problem comes is when there's more than one enemy. It's okay at the start where it's sort of you're one-on-one, and it's quite easy enough to handle one-on-one. But when there's sort of 2 or 3 enemies, that's when it gets more troublesome. The other issue here as well, as you see, when I die, look, you get respawned at these like altars, or I think they're altars or something, worship places, and they're just so few and far between that you can play for like, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, die, and then you're right back, all the way back to the altar, and you have to fight your way through everything again. And that's happened so many times. It's just so frustrating. Again, just another nail in the coffin, really. You see their massive slowdown when enemies appear. You got that fogging in the distance that it's just sort of artificially blocking out the draw distance. Not that the draw distance is good anyway. Stuff just tends to pop into view really regularly. This was another thing as well. I'll show you this little frustration. These little stone golems, these sort of give you little tips about something that's coming up. So this one's saying that you need a torch if you go into dark places, basically. So I'll show you how frustrating the gameplay is here. Just before I do that, there's another frustrating thing. You can see I'm sort of crouched over here, hurt. And the reason I'm hurt is because whenever you die, you lose stats. And you can see my stats there on the right-hand side. Strength, stamina, defense, intelligence, wisdom. Every time you die, you lose a number of stats. This is a really bad gameplay idea. I think, personally, I don't know. I've never encountered anything like this. It's really frustrating. You can't gain any of those stats back until you find a campsite and rest up. And again, though, they are so few and far between that you're just handicapped. So not only are you dead, not only any potions that you've consumed during a fight are gone, not only the weapon damage that you sustained when you were fighting anything isn't reset. So you're still, even though you're reborn, your potions, your weapons are all damaged. So you're basically up against it straight away, and all your stats are reduced as well. So you're right up against it, and it just becomes this perpetual cycle of, you know, getting worse and worse, but needing to progress further. It's like it's counterintuitive. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to make sense. So anyway, it's said here to get a torch and you venture into dark places, and you can hold down ZL to guard the torch, which apparently means to put it in your belt and you kind of lose it. I've not found another way of getting it back. So go back and light a torch. So you venture into these dark caverns with your torch. You've drawn a weapon. You've got to fight this creature. Whilst holding your torch, now normally your guard button would be on ZL as well, so you'd normally tuck your torch away, be in pitch black, and just have to venture back and get another torch. It's just really cumbersome. So unfortunately, like I say, I've not got too much good to say about this. I thought I'd put a video up anyway, just to give you my opinion. Enough people have reviewed the game poorly to sort of, you know, you don't need me to tell you it's a poor game. I don't know what happened back in August, when this apparently had even more problems. I didn't get a chance to review it back then. But if it was worse than the state it's launched in now, then heavens above. It's $17.99 in the UK, $19.99 in America. It's from Rising Star Games, but unfortunately, without a lot more work, this one isn't a game that I can recommend, I'm afraid. But there you go. That's my thoughts on Decay of Logos. Played around 3 hours of it. Couldn't stomach any more of it. So apologies. If you've got any questions, do let me know below. Like and subscribe as always. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.